Time to get the job done.
Hello and welcome back to... I don't see a destination on here. Am I maybe at the location already? Also, I can't see my way back out of here, is it? It's not that way. Oh dear, okay. Quickly reverse into this spot, around, and point ourselves back in this direction. There's this spot, there we are. This must be it. Freight market, and there's the one I want. Yeah, heading into the Pro Mods Middle East territory down here, I believe. We're going across Turkey, which is the Row Extended mod. I think, again, yeah, we'll take that job anyway. And then it's a matter of finding our trailer. Which is all the way back there. There we are. Fantastic. Oh, a little bit overshot that there. Oh, come on. I'm clearly steering the wrong way. Okay. There we go. Into that spot. Bad angle. There we go. And off we go. I don't need sleep. I don't need repairs. I am all good. So off we go. Today, I want to talk about... Well, I think this is in the title. I want to talk about She-Hulk a little bit. And there's going to be spoilers, I'm afraid. So if you haven't seen it and want to see it for yourself, probably give this a miss. Which way out here are we going? Looks like left. And I think I also want to talk about the state of, like, media criticism in general. Also, I want to talk about Clerks 3. I watched Clerks 3 last night. No spoilers for that, but oh my god, Clerks 3 is amazing. I think it's the second best... Shit. This is that barrier, isn't it? Well, okay, on this occasion... I don't see why we don't just hop over the grass. Clearly the road is erroneously marked, isn't it? There we go. Either the road is erroneously marked or the barrier is just not programmed correctly. It's got to be something like that. Right? That, or maybe it's programmed so that it only opens during the daytime? That could be a thing, but I doubt that. Anyway, Clerks 3. No spoilers, as I said. But Clerks 3, my god. Did I say it was the second best movie I think Kevin Smith's made? After Dogma? Dogma's my favorite. But Clerks 3 is, like, I didn't expect it to surpass Clerks, but in my opinion, it did. Now, Clerks is a classic, and you can't actually watch Clerks 3. You can't get the appreciation for Clerks 3 without watching Clerks and Clerks 2. But, okay, we're good. But Clerks 3, man, just has so much, like... Stop indicating. It has so much heart, and it's, like, clearly so personal to Kevin Smith, like... The way I described it is it's like it's a family home movie in the best possible way. Even down to like the way it's captured and directed, even down to the casting and down to the choice of music as well. Like, you may know, maybe this is a spoiler, maybe it isn't. It's just the beginning of the movie. It starts with the Black Parade, right? Which is such a cliche for that sort of like home movie kind of aesthetic that you get in like graduation videos and like you probably get it played at every alt kid millennial who's now getting married at their wedding, you know? It's that kind of cliche. It feels... Well, it creates the sense that this is personal and intimate in a sense, and not really professional, just because it is so overused. But that feeling persists through the whole movie and is actually perfect for what Clerks 3 is. Like, I say down to the casting as well, because the cast includes obviously Kevin Smith himself, his best friend Jason Mewes. It includes all the original cast of Clerks, a lot of whom are just, you know, friends of Smith's and not actually actors. I know the dude who plays Randall, he didn't want to come back and act, but, you know, Kevin Smith, you know, pleaded with him and basically bugged him into doing it. But the result is so cool, and like Kevin Smith's daughter's in it, and her boyfriend's in it, so it feels like, you know, it's a family-made movie. And there are little hints in it all the way through to like their personal lives outside of their characters as well, like. And of course, the whole film is personal and it's semi-autobiographical, because of course Clerks was as well semi-autobiographical, because Kevin Smith worked at the Quick Stop with the little video store next door. It's so good. You got to see it. If you're a Clerks fan, you got to see Clerks 3, because it's fantastic, and I think it surpasses Clerks. That may be controversial, but I honestly think it was amazing. That's just something I wanted to like express immediately, because I watched that last night and had such a good time, like a better time with it than I thought I was going to. So good. But like, really, I wanted to talk about She-Hulk, as I think I said, and there will be spoilers for She-Hulk. I want to talk about She-Hulk and yeah, and the sort of state of media criticism, but not the MCU as a whole. I'm not really going to be talking about that, but we will be talking about the entire series of She-Hulk, and in specific the finale. Because I loved the finale for She-Hulk. I think it's the second best finale for an MCU show that they've done. I think that the best is Loki, and She-Hulk is the second best. Not because I'm a big fan of meta or because it's surprising or anything like that, but because it's thematically on point, and it sets up a lot for people to speculate about for the future. Which, okay, so in the MCU right now, we're in... There we go. We're in what's known as the multiverse saga, which begins with... Oh, does it begin with Far From Home? Or do we still say that Far From Home is the tag at the end of the Infinity Saga? Yeah, I can keep going around here and take this exit. Fantastic. Okay, it's either Far From Home or it's WandaVision came first, right? You know, it's WandaVision. And obviously WandaVision leads into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is a good movie. Multiverse of Madness surprised me, actually. I was expecting different, and I didn't particularly enjoy it on my first viewing. Ooh. Uh-huh. Ooh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Keeping right. It's this exit, right? Oh no, so we're just sort of following straight out here, yeah. What an unusual roundabout. So, yeah, Multiverse of Madness, I didn't particularly enjoy it on my first viewing, but what I got from the first viewing was I should come back and see this in 3D, because it probably looks amazing in 3D, and God, it did. Just, they didn't skimp on the making it 3D. It probably wasn't shot in 3D, it was probably transitioned into 3D after the fact, but they did a good job, and the effects in 3D were phenomenal, and it was so stunning. Yeah, how fast do I need to be actually? Above 31, okay. So we'll get to 31 as a cruising speed, and be on the lookout for the police if they're behind me at all. I don't know if that was a speed cam or what. Yeah, multiverse saga, which includes obviously Loki. Like, okay, well, I'm just gonna talk about the main sort of multiverse emphasizing ones. We've got Loki, which is multiversal in that it literally takes place in a sort of different dimension for the most part, and it talks about the multiverse quite a bit, or multiple timelines. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, pretty obvious, he goes traveling through the multiverse in that. You've got, what else have you got? She-Hulk I'll come back to. What else has really touched on the multiverse part? Yeah, Quantumania will. Technically Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, both of those movies, do touch on the multiverse, because, well, also Endgame in that case, right? Because he uses the quantum realm, and they use the quantum realm to travel through time, so it probably connects to Kang's being able to travel through time and travel between dimensions and whatnot. And the quantum realm probably connects somehow to dimensional travel and to America Chavez's powers. But anyway, the main thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, was She-Hulk, and the way that that has these huge implications for the future. Like Loki does, right? Loki's finale, spoilers for the Loki finale. Loki's finale ends with the introduction of Kang, Kang the Conqueror. Although he's known as He Who Remains in that show. He hasn't officially been called Kang the Conqueror yet, but we know it's him. So he gives a big speech about how, you know, he is He Who Remains. He is the man at the end of time who won a multiversal war and put the timeline in order, created the sacred timeline to ensure that no other Kang could come into existence and challenge him and create this multiversal war that tears the entire multiverse apart. He thinks that he's doing good by placing himself in that position and constructing a sacred timeline to prevent all-out war with himself. It's, oh my god, it's amazing. And his speech about it in the episode, like the episode, the finale, is mostly this character monologuing, and Jonathan Majors, that's the actor, right? Jonathan Majors is such a good actor. He really makes the most of the script and the words that he's been given, and he performs every single one. It's just amazing. But yeah, so we have this implication that, you know, he is the big bad of all of the multiverse and has already defeated himself. But then the Lokis get to him, Loki and Sylvie. And, you know, spoilers, he is killed. And the timeline, the sacred timeline, is, you know, then unchained, and all-out multiverse breaks out from there. We get the multiverse from there. Which, here's the thing about Loki as a series, right? It doesn't need to exist. Because we could have just gone ahead and assumed that a multiverse already did exist. People say, one of the things that people said after Loki was that, oh, this opens up the multiverse now. It was never closed. Before Loki said in like its first episode, or second or third or something, in one of its earlier episodes, it talked about the sacred timeline and how they keep things in check. Without Loki, there is no sacred timeline. There is no keeping things to a single universe, a single timeline. So the fact that it opened it back up at the end is just part of its own narrative. Like, it's good, it's brilliant, I love that series. But, ooh, do I have to go this way, or... I guess I could go either way. Yeah, Loki, it didn't need to break the multiverse wide open, because without Loki in the first place, the multiverse was never closed off. So that's Loki. But the ending is amazing, and Jonathan Majors is an absolutely incredible actor. Have a nice journey. So, let's talk She-Hulk finale. Because the She-Hulk finale did something that has divided the audience to the greatest possible extent. In the finale for She-Hulk, you said keep right? Yeah, I think so. I think either lane would have been fine. Oh, I think any lane would have been fine, it looks like. Oh, not quite. A little bit further. I have to remember that European trucks shorter than American trucks. Checking documents. Okay, away we go. So, yeah. The final episode for She-Hulk starts where, you know, a lot of finales start, with the hero, the protagonist of the show, at their sort of lowest point. Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, she's had her capability to transform into She-Hulk inhibited, essentially taken away from her. That choice to do that has been taken away from her. She's been fired from her job as a lawyer because her employer only hired her as She-Hulk to be the face of their superhero law division. So she's lost her job, she's lost the capability to turn into She-Hulk. She's essentially lost both her identities, both as a lawyer and as... You're gonna let me go, that's fine. She's had her identities taken away from her, and she's had her choice taken away from her. And then we get into the episode's story itself, its narrative, which takes us to facing down. What is happening here? What is happening here? This is interesting. Oh, stop to police control. What? Where? Here? Everything okay? Please drive. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. And then we have a we have what appears to be a rest stop and fuel ahead, which I might turn into. What time are we on? Oh, hello. Okay, may as well. Yeah, so She-Hulk. She goes to see Emil Blonsky, who'd given her some advice previously. He turns out to be hosting an event for the sort of big bad of the series, this group called Intelligentsia, who have been stalking, harassing, who've stolen She-Hulk's blood. Off with the engine, sleep. And away we go. We've got our drivers earning plenty of money for us now, so we're no longer in quite as much debt as we were. I would like to check the bank though, see if there's any more loans I can pay back. There is not. Is there? My account balance is 21,000, so no. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, back to drive. Okay, daylight. And where in the world are we? Sorry, I keep doing this. We're in Turkey, right? How far through Turkey are we? Oh, we've not made much progress yet. We came down from Varna, I think, didn't we? So we are... Yeah, not yet. I think, well, we're going through Istanbul, and then across the rest of Turkey, then down to here somewhere. Sidon RL, I don't know what RL stands for. Sorry about that. So I don't actually know what country we're going to in the end. No traffic coming, none that way either. Fantastic. Okay. What brand of trailer are we driving, by the way? That's cool. I can't read that, obviously, but I am gonna assume that it is somehow a little bit geographically accurate, right? Like, we picked it up in Turkey. So is that Turkish? I don't know. Anyway, the She-Hulk finale. So Intelligentsia are there, they've stolen her blood, and she ultimately has to confront them and Emil, who is transforming back into the Abomination, which is a big Hulk-like villain. Oh, he's not a villain. And as it turns out, he's hosting them completely oblivious to the fact that they've been antagonizing Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. What happened? Loan installments. That's fine. That's a hefty amount to pay, but we're making more than that in general, so we're good. Yeah, so Intelligentsia are there, they've stolen our blood. There's this dude called Todd who specifically orchestrated the whole thing and has apparently engineered her blood so that it is safe for him to take and give him Hulk powers. So he takes it, gets Hulk powers. Then, out of nowhere, well, okay, then he goes to attack Jen. Emil Blonsky as Abomination rescues her. Then Titania breaks in, who is another antagonist for the series. Then Hulk drops in out of the sky and gets into a fight with Abomination. And Jennifer Walters is just talking directly to camera saying, "Is this working for you? This is such a mess, right?" Then we cut to the Disney Plus menu screen, which Jennifer talks over, says she's breaking the inhibitor, she breaks the inhibitor, and she breaks out of her show, the panel for her show, and swings across into Marvel Assembled, which is a behind-the-scenes documentary series. And so, in doing so, she effectively jumps from one reality to another, a reality that's sort of mimicking our own, where the show is actually produced. Although it's not quite the same as ours, but it is, you know, a production reality where the MCU is a series of shows and movies, and from here, this reality, they can control the narrative of the MCU, much like the TVA can control the timeline in Loki, right? And from there, she goes and she speaks to the writing staff, and she speaks to Kevin. Now, Kevin is interesting. Kevin's funny. People who watched with subtitles, I really wish they hadn't, like, spelled it out in the subtitles, because it sort of spoiled the misdirect. They're all talking about Kevin, and Jen saying, "I want to talk to Kevin." The writing staff is saying, "You can't talk to Kevin. No one talks to Kevin. I would kill you to protect Kevin." She says, "It's creepy the way you guys are all talking about Kevin." And she goes and she talks to Kevin, who turns out to be Kevin. I won't try and remember what that stands for. knowledge enhanced visual. Oh. Okay, let's just pull it out a little bit more in this direction and don't. Damn bus. Okay, there we go. Should be able to pull it around. Come on, come on. Just, there we go. Little bit of a tight corner. She goes and she talks to Kevin, the producer, a parody of Kevin Feige, the actual producer of the entirety of the MCU. But Kevin in this reality is a robot. Kevin. I only know that the N stands for Nexus, and I think I got KEV right, but I can't remember what the I stands for. Might be intelligence, might be knowledge enhanced visual intelligence nexus. Ah! Okay, we're good. I can't remember. She speaks to him anyway, and she has her show changed. She says, can we get rid of the whole Todd steals my blood thing? That's not... the powers aren't the villain. He's the villain. So they drop the blood plot. It just gets, edited out the episode. Done. She says, oh, can we not have Hulk show up out of nowhere to save the day at the end of my show? And, Hulk gets written out of dropping from the sky. She says, I just want Emil Blonsky to face accountability for his actions, so, well, basically for turning back into the Abomination, so that's fine. He turns back into Emil Blonsky. And she also says, hey, can we also get Daredevil back? A woman has needs, because she's smashing Matt Murdock, and that is... Right. And then exit right. Okay, just careful through here. Start of talk. I have no idea what I hit. What did I hit? That's annoying. I don't think we had any damage done, though. Right. Maybe we did. It was just a very tight squeeze there, very narrow. Anyway. Yeah, so Matt Murdock is dropped back into the show out of nowhere, much like the Hulk dropped in out of nowhere in the version she had edited out, which I think is funny. I think that's a good joke. That joke lands, She's not happy to have Hulk swoop in and save the day out of nowhere, but she's, perfectly happy to have Matt Murdock dropping out of nowhere because she likes Matt Murdock. Like she fancies Matt Murdock, and it is, it's good. So it's all very meta, it's all fourth wall breaking, and the show's conflict, the finale's conflict, is resolved by breaking the fourth wall. When we cut back into the reality of the MCU, and She-Hulk's there, she's walking towards Todd. Todd's been arrested, and rather than attack him, she just says, see you in court. Rather than... Yeah, then she goes talk to Emil Blonsky, who is being sent back to prison for 10 years for violating his parole. Makes sense. It's all fine. And of course, Matt Murdock drops in out of the sky. Obviously, I'm just recapping the events of the episode at this point, but we'll get on to what I really want to say in a second. Because that's all... Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. You might think that that's all really Deus Ex Machina, right? That, they basically just retconned the whole show with this fourth wall break. But did they, though? They didn't. Or I would argue that they didn't. Because from episode 1 all the way through to episode 9, Jen really has made a point of not wanting to be this She-Hulk, not wanting to be the superhero character. Although she comes into it in the end and is, you're gonna let me merge? You can go around the other side of me if you want, if you're faster than me. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, so she's not wanted to be this superhero character. She's wanted to be a normal, anonymous lawyer. So to defeat the bad guys of the show with legal action in the end is the perfect resolution. Yep, I understand. Wait inspection. Assume I've got to go all the way to the outside for it, or what do I have to do? Where is it? Oh, sorry, is it? Right, these are the heavy goods vehicles. Total of $27 paid. Where is... Oh, here's the way station. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so they face legal consequences in the end for... Oh, there it is. It's really faint. Damaged vehicle usage violation. Really? Your vehicle is not in technical state required by law. You have to fix it. Okay. I will bear that in mind. I didn't realize it was that bad. Diagnostics. 7%. Oh. Oh. Okay, yeah, it is pretty bad. Did I have a really bad crash? Can't remember. We will look to get that fixed at some point. Anyway, She-Hulk. Yeah, so they face legal consequences. You know, the blood plotline where Todd gets the blood and turns into his own version of a Hulk. That obviously gets erased from the show, but that's sort of the only thing. You have to sort of connect the dots yourself that, you know, that didn't happen. He didn't inject himself with blood because, you know, the powers aren't the villain. He is. She got there, stopped him from doing that, proved with his confession that he did all of that. Okay, yeah, brilliant. I am making the correct move here. He confesses to orchestrating all of the invasions of privacy and etc., against Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk, and he goes to jail for that. The blood plotline just, you know, it goes nowhere, but it's set up that it shouldn't work in the first place. Back in episode 1, it's established that because Bruce and Jen are cousins, they share genetics. I need to be in that lane. This is why she's able to turn into the She-Hulk and he's able to turn into the Hulk. Obviously, other people can become Hulks as well, and they do in the comics, and we're probably getting Red Hulk soon. And obviously there's the Abomination, Emil Blonsky, no relation to the Banner family at all. But yeah, given that there's no explanation for like why the blood should work for Todd, and he's not that smart, I think it was fine to just call that messy and write it out of the show, or write the ending out of the show at least. The blood plot line still happened. We know that, or we don't know that actually because it's implied that the blood plot was erased. Those are Kevin's words, I think. However, I don't think that is the case for the whole show. I think, you know, the blood plotline did happen. Her blood was stolen. It's just that it wasn't used by Todd. Whoever it got to, probably the leader, who is rumored to be showing up in Captain America: New World Order. So I just think we're going to see the blood plotline again, and that hasn't been erased from the show. Although I think people are going to complain when it shows up again, and they say this is Jennifer Walters' blood. I think they're going to complain and say, "Oh, but that got erased by Kevin." I think no, it didn't. It didn't. The blood plot from the final episode got erased, but the blood plot overall, I don't think it did. I think everything from episodes 1 to 8 stands, and then episode 9 was written to go in a deliberately messy direction in order to ultimately have itself, episode 9, that ending retconned and instead have characters face legal consequences rather than... Oh, where's that road go? That road doesn't even look blocked off. Yeah. Legal consequences rather than, you know, big combat superhero consequences. And here's why I think that works and why it's thematically relevant. One, Jen has been breaking the fourth wall from the very start. She's done it in the comics. She's done it to this extent in the comics as well. She's been doing it since the very start, though. She's been speaking directly to the audience. And we know there's something a little bit weird about that. We know most of the time other people can't see it, can't acknowledge it, aren't aware of it. So she's able to talk directly to the audience without people around her in her presence being aware that she's doing it. But we also know that when she did it once in front of the Hulk, he was almost aware that she was doing it, or he was aware that she was doing it, but he wasn't necessarily aware what she was saying or who to. Neither was she in that particular instance. It looked like that was the first time it had ever happened, and she looked equally as confused about it as Hulk did. So we know that the fourth wall breaking capability is something that seems to come about from her powers, like it is in the comics. And there's always weird justifications for them having this power in the comics, both her and Deadpool. I think sometimes Deadpool is just like most. Well, we know he's a comic book character, and he knows he's a comic book character, and that he's correct about that. Everyone in the world who sees him talking to camera just thinks he's crazy. And they have different degrees of this sort of meta-breaking capability. But it is something that the comics try to justify, and they try to use it to clever effect. And I think they did that here. I think they used it to clever effect here. So it was established that she could do something like this, and ultimately she did do this to resolve the show's finale, its end conflict. And the reason that it's thematically relevant is that every single episode of She-Hulk is about personal autonomy and ownership of identity. The entire show is about the conflict between Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk and the people around her telling her to be one or the other or to be a certain way. Like, for example, the wedding episode where... Well, the title of that episode is just Jen. The bride at that wedding, she shows up as She-Hulk, and the bride says... Did you say turn right, I'm guessing? Yeah, okay. It really doesn't look like that road... Where does that road go? It just disappears. Okay. Yeah, so just Jen. She, the bride at the wedding says, you know, I don't want you here as She-Hulk. Be just Jen. So she's just Jen for that episode. Until Titania shows up and they get into a fight and etc. etc. But yeah, throughout the show, the whole premise has been... Oh, keep which side left, did you say? I think? Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, good. The whole premise of the show was personal autonomy and ownership of identity and having the choice to be She-Hulk or be Jennifer Walters on her own terms when she chooses to be one or the other. And ultimately the fourth wall break, that being one of her powers, is about that. She's taking ownership not just of her identity, not just of her own choices, but of the show's plot itself, the finale's plot, certainly anyway, herself, which to a lot of people seems like Deus Ex Machina. I pronounced that really weird, didn't I? Deus Ex Machina. Seems like, God out of the machine. It seems like a big retcon that completely undermines the stakes of the whole show, which it doesn't really, because the stakes were literally, Jen says this directly to Kevin as well, the stakes, I forget what she says exactly, but the stakes are her own choices and her identity and her being She-Hulk. Those are her stakes. And so her embracing this power and choosing her ending is fulfilling the actual theme of the show in one of the cleverest ways possible. And not only that, it also establishes something really interesting for the multiverse saga, in that we now have this additional universe. We know that Loki was essentially in a different universe when he was in the TVA, and when he was at the end of all things, the end of time. That was sort of a external reality. We know that Stephen Strange and America Chavez sort of traveled through multiple realities, multiple universes in Multiverse of Madness, and ultimately they spent most of their time in 616, which is the main MCU continuity, a number designation stolen from the comic books, and they spent their time in 838 as well, I think. And then he goes to another one where there's Sinister Strange as well. So we know there are all these realities, and we also know from Multiverse of Madness and from What If that convergences of realities, people journeying from one reality to another, is dangerous. We also know from Spider-Man No Way Home as well, there are multiple realities, that the Sony realities of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and the Mark Webb Spider-Man movies, those both exist as well somewhere in the multiverse. And there, Peter Parker's there, Tobey Maguire Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield Peter Parker came to the MCU during the incidents of No Way Home. But now we also know that there's this other sort of reality that works a little bit like the TVA, but looks a lot like our own reality. It's sort of a production reality. We know this exists, and we know that meta characters or meta-breaking characters like She-Hulk and maybe like Deadpool can speak to this reality all the time and can maybe on occasion break into this reality like She-Hulk did. Maybe Deadpool is capable of that too, and we haven't seen that yet. But I think this is super interesting for the future, because it sets up another universe for the multiverse saga that's a control universe. And who knows, maybe like Eric Voss said in his theory video, maybe Kang the Conqueror did create KEVIN, and KEVIN is there instead of Kevin Feige because, oh dear, we're crashing, aren't we? Okay, yes, we're crashing. Okay, we're crashing, but you can still hear me. I'm just going to boot the game back up. I'm going to take a drink as well. Unable, yeah, okay, I always get this, unable to sync. It takes a second to sync. I should just turn off syncing. Be quicker that way. Unable to sync. Do it faster then. There we go. We'll get back to that in a second. Let me just get back into the game first. I don't know if you're seeing this yet. You are, apparently. I think. But now I'm not. So I don't actually know what you're seeing and what... There we go. Pro mods load screen. I'm seeing that now. Man, recording is difficult. I think it's mods that do this. I haven't had this problem in the main game. I haven't had this problem at all with pro mods installed either. But I've had this problem with Row Extended, because that's where we are at the moment, in Turkey. And I've had this problem in American Truck Simulator with, what's it called? Reformer. I don't remember a tunnel. I don't remember traveling through a tunnel at all. Do you remember traveling through a tunnel?
Time to hit the road.
We're going to attempt to make it a little bit further. We should really check where we are in the world. I know we had a recent save, so that's totally fine. Yeah, we're here. Okay, we've passed Istanbul. Okay. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay. So yes, I'm really excited about the implications of this reality for the MCU. It's crashing again. Well, fuck. I guess we're probably going to have to leave it there, aren't we? Let me get something, not that. This, please, go here. Here, please. And, I do apologize. We are going to wrap up here. Yeah, that's okay. Do that. You should be able to hear this. Okay, brilliant. So we've got a little bit of background music while I wrap up. So I'm excited about the implications of the sort of production reality that She-Hulk introduced for the future of the MCU, because I feel like it can tie into the multiverse saga, perhaps by having Kevin being an agent of Kang the Conqueror. Maybe Kang the Conqueror isn't able to access that production reality, that meta reality himself, but has been made aware of it by other characters and therefore has employed some agent who can access that reality to put Kevin in place to keep meta-breaking characters like She-Hulk and Deadpool in check. And I think that will give them a really interesting role in a movie like Secret Wars. Because what Secret Wars is going to do, which is coming in like 2026 now, what Secret Wars is going to do is it's going to throw a bunch of universes together. It's going to, well, the fact that we're getting an X-Men 97 series before that suggests to me that we're going to be seeing a animated part of Secret Wars that's focusing around the X-Men 97 universe. We're going to see all these universes sort of collided together in one battle world, and we're going to see all these different styles sort of blend together and different universes. And one of the universes might be this production reality that that She-Hulk and Deadpool are both able to access, and maybe even Gwenpool. I would love to see Gwenpool come to the MCU. But they could team up as a team to handle whatever part of the crisis needs handled in that part of reality, while other characters like Doctor Strange deal with the magical realms and the sort of other dimensions part of it. And then you've got characters like Spider-Man, who's big in the multiverse, and he's got loads and loads of spider people, other spider versions of himself to engage with, and the conflict's going to be huge. It's going to be nuts. It's going to throw everything at it, and I just think that ending of She-Hulk sets up so much interest for the future. And I disagree with people saying it was lazy. It wasn't lazy. This was crafted and thematically relevant, and it's so exciting what it can mean for the future. It wasn't a retcon at all. It was it was a promise, and it was a thematically appropriate promise that this is what this character looks like, and this is what she does, and this is what the future of the MCU entails. And can you imagine what kind of conflict that can lead to? new meta conflicts, new meta interesting stuff. But because we're no longer trucking, I do have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me for this. This has been Euro Truck Simulator 2. I've been Tom, and I don't know what we're going to do. I'm taking next week off from Truck Simulators entirely. It's going to be like Halloween week. Everything's going to be a more quote-unquote spooky kind of game. We're going to have, I think we're having, no, we're still having 2 episodes of Cataclysm, but we're also having 3 episodes of Fallout 4. So I hope you join me for that. And what else? Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do about this crash. I would like to get into the Middle East territory and see what that's about. I imagine it'll work fine, because all of ProMods has been absolutely fine with me. I don't know why it's crashing. I don't know why this and American Truck Simulator are both crashing. If you have any idea, do let me know in the comments what I might try to fix this. But in the meantime, I've been Tom. Thank you very much for watching, and ta-ra.